Hi guys, and thank you for joining us again on the Two Maesters. We're going to have a bit of a spin-off episode here where we're going to talk about Marvel, talk about the current landscape of Marvel, what's coming up this year, what do we expect from the big film coming out at the end of the year that people are going crazy for. And also Morgan isn't with us, but Morgan will return in Avengers Doomsday. He is on as the Goblin said, a sabbatical, and will be joining us later in the year. But I'm glad to have with us Jeffrey, as Morgan says, our overlord of the Two Maesters, the king, and we also have Berne with us today as well, who's also an avid Marvel fan.
Yeah, excited to be here. This is Bernie's first Pick Up the Mic podcast. It's first time on the Two Maesters, but this has been a long time in the works. Bernie, Josh said, he's not just a massive Marvel fan, he's also a massive Star Trek fan as well. But yeah, we thought we'd start in one place. If Bernie enjoys it, Bernie will come on and talk more about Star Trek, but Star Wars, sorry, my apologies, Star Wars.
Come on, Jeffrey. On May the 4th as well. Come on.
On May the 4th as well. May the 4th. But yeah, we're both excited to be here. So yeah, over to you, Joshua. Let us know what we're going to do.
Perfect. Thank you both for joining. So the major thing we want to talk about today is just the current viewpoint of Marvel of the last few years, the cool shows that have come out. So we've also had the animated shows. We've also had the live action shows. We also had a few films that came out last year with Thunderbolts. We also had the Captain America film that came out. And then also just as fans across the MCU are saying, this is the streetverse. For the streets have taken over Marvel. And I think to just start off the episode, I think one of the things I didn't realize as much is that how much I love the street view of Marvel. And I think this is one of the things that I think differentiates Marvel from DC is that how in depth the streets are, and that you could actually have street level Marvel as its own comic book series outside of the Guardians of the Galaxy or the Fantastic Four or even the X-Men, that if you just focus on the Daredevils, the Punishers, we also had Echo as well. You also had Spider-Man, who's now gone back to the original friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, not Iron Spider, not Iron Man Jr. And the fact I really like is that they're able to then bring in things that are taking place across the world. So just to start off the episode, so Jeffrey and Berne, what would you say is your favorite landscape within Marvel? Is it the streetverse? Is it the geopolitical situations or national or international situations that we saw with like Captain America or with Captain America and the Winter Soldier? What would you say? Or do you think it's like the intergalactic, which we saw with Guardians of the Galaxy, or you could even add in a bit of Thor there as well, especially with Thor 3? Or would you say that it's the cosmic level with the Avengers?
You go best. You're the guest.
Mine is a bit of both. It's a mix. I like the cosmic level because, especially the third Doctor Strange.
No, I haven't been a third one yet. There's only two Doctor Stranges.
Yeah, there's two.
Yeah, the second one.
Multiverse.
Yeah. So, why did I think it was three of them?
I don't blame you, Berne. That I even sometimes get mistaken thinking, was there 4 or 5 Captain America films? Are there 4 or 5 Iron Man films?
Right? I know Thor, there's 4 of them, right? Yeah, and there's 4 Captain America as well. Yeah. Well, the Black Captain America being the 4th one. So the second, the multiverse saga of Doctor Strange, I really liked, especially being that it was directed by
Sam
Raimi, who directed the first Spider-Man series. And also, of course, the link between that was, especially the darker elements of it was, the first film I ever created was the Evil Dead, right? With the detached hand that, terrorized everyone. So it was incredible seeing that because, it was the way they crossed universes and, and that, he made it work. And of course, the the last Spider-Man as well, with the multiverse version of Spider-Man. I think he directed that as well.
No. It was the guy who did the first two, the Tom Holland Spider-Man films. It was the same guy.
The same guy that
Yeah, so he did the whole...
Got you. Yeah. Yeah. That was one of my favorites. I really I enjoyed it.
I think for me, do you want to... You can reply to Bernie.
I was just going to say, yeah, that I think a core part within Marvel is that magical element that some fans saying that they haven't gone into as much. People have rumored, and the rumors are always thrown out there, and then people always using like these AI now, especially if AI is being prevalent, having these fake logos, fake pictures that the Midnight Suns will be coming in this phase. And then that sort of has a lot of the magic fans or magical MCU fans really interested in it. But yeah, I think part of the thing when it comes to magic, it is an integral undertone across the Marvel comics that the magic part of it can go street level, it can go to multiversal, it can go to intergalactic, it could go to any individual stage. And we also saw that with like Agatha all along as well, that element. You had these witches who were basically street level, nowhere near as powerful as Doctor Strange, but was still a compelling story. Jeffrey.
Yeah, so I think for me, I think like Bernie said, it depends on the film and like when it comes out in the Marvel calendar. So I think the way Marvel handled like bringing in Thanos as a big bad was quite good. So it started off obviously like not really like street level. I don't think the first 3 phases of the MCU really had like a street level element. It was really much like, each like I guess the first phase was like introducing the Avengers. So each Avenger was like had their own stories that they would happen, and then like some people may not know, but like I think it's Iron Man 2, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk all happen within the same week. So there's like a comic book that shows like the connection between like all 3 of those films and how Nick Fury basically is using them to build up the Avengers, which then obviously, comes together in the Avengers film. But yeah, I think like I've heard other people say it, and I think it kind of I agree with it, it's true. I think like post Endgame, I think the issue is like that like Marvel was trying to figure out like what it was. So it was like, okay, cool. We've introduced the Avengers. Have come like there's big, massive team up. The Guardians met the Avengers, and they connected with Thor and his people, and all of this. And it's like this big fight. Sacrifices were made, but in the end, the heroes won. At the end of the day, everyone's happy. And I think the issue is that they didn't really know like where to go post like this, because then the argument was like there's a YouTube channel called New Rockstars, and they do usually within every like phase, every big Marvel film, it's like, what are the unanswered questions? So like the big ones was like, for the longest time, after Eternals was the Eternal that like was sticking out of the ground at the end of the film, that they then used in Captain America Brave New World. They were just like, no one mentioned them between like, there were like articles. So apparently like She-Hulk had like an article, like an Easter egg article that was talking about it. But people were just like, between then and like, Captain America, no one was talking about this massive like celestial that appeared out of nowhere. And it was like, this is like a big thing. Like, why is no one talking about this? Another thing people were talking about was like with, so they tried to go to the like whole espionage thing with like Secret Invasion and make it seem like, that like all of this stuff. And then people were saying the issue with Secret Invasion is, at least to do it as a TV show, is it just becomes too expensive because in the comics, Secret Invasion is like, it's a bigger storyline, it's longer. You're seeing, so like in the show, the only person who was replaced who was a big superhero was War Machine. But in the comic books and like in like animated adaptations, like a lot of the Avengers get replaced. Like Captain America gets replaced, Iron Man gets replaced, Thor gets replaced. So it's like a bigger thing, and it's more of like a who do you trust? Because you're like, oh, is this person a Skrull? Are they not? For me personally, that's why I feel like there's mixes. I think Marvel is best when it embraces each project as what it should be. A lot of people love I know it was like now they've linked it into the MCU, but like people like the Netflix shows because it was like connected, but not really. So they would reference like the Battle of New York in the 2012 Avengers, the first film, but it was still very much street level. And like people said, it reflected also the character, because they were saying like, why would Luke Cage necessarily like get involved with a fight with Thanos? And this man is like, I'm just here to protect Harlem. Or like if you know, like with Spider-Man, like you said, like Spider-Man No Way Home, like there's this massive, there's like all these Spider-Men fighting all these like people from alternate universes, all of this stuff. But then it's just like, if I'm Daredevil, why am I getting involved? They're not affecting Hell's Kitchen, all of this. So I think that's why I like street level. Like maybe not just street level, but I like the wider MCU stuff that isn't necessarily like limited to just the MCU. Like limited, like stuff that doesn't always link to the next project. I think it was really good for the first 3 phases, but even still, like in the first 3 phases, not every film was like linking to the next one. So it wasn't like, oh, if you want to understand, like, I don't know, like, especially in the later ones, it came to that. But like, you don't need to watch, I don't know the release order, but it'd be like, you don't need to watch Iron Man 3 to understand like Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Or you might not need to watch, like Avengers 2, like you may need to watch Avengers 2, but you don't need to know so much backstory to understand like Captain America 3. Like you could still understand it without necessarily like watching all of these films. Whereas now it feels like, I think they've moved away from that a bit more. So like Thunderbolts is a perfect example. So yes, there's characters in Thunderbolts that have appeared in like other projects. So if you go into Thunderbolts as your like first Marvel film, you'll be like, well, how did these guys know each other? Who are they? Like, why was she crying when she said this? But it was okay. Again, what's it called? Fantastic Four is another one where like you don't like, it's not even connected to the main universe, Marvel MCU. So you can go into it without knowing stuff. And I think that's what we're seeing, like, especially like you said, like with the big films coming out from, well, there's only 2 actually, but like the big 2 films coming out from Marvel this year, which is Spider-Man and Avengers. I think it's so like the final thing I'll say is originally, so it was believed, so Avengers was going to be a May release, and then Spider-Man was going to come out in July, and then I think there was supposed to be an unscheduled or like an untitled film that was supposed to come out in like December, and then they were going to do Secret Wars in May 2027. What happened is, so Avengers got delayed to December, and then because of that, they were just like, Secret Wars needs to be moved to December, and then Spider-Man 4 got moved. And there's no proof of this. This is like, I guess...
So we're not getting Spider-Man 4 this year?
No, we are. So Spider-Man 4 got moved up to July. But allegedly, the reason why it was because apparently when the script was first being written, there were rumors from people, like leaks. I don't know if it's true, but people are saying that the 4th Spider-Man film was supposed to build on like the success that everyone loves, like Toby and Andrew coming back. So it was going to be like another multiversal thing set after this, like, I guess like spoiler warning, but I don't really think it's a big spoiler because I don't think they'll adapt it bit for bit. But essentially, Secret Wars in the comic, do you mind?
No.
Okay, cool. 'Cause I didn't ask you. I know my brother knows, but Secret Wars in the comics basically is linked to a run where basically an incursion happens and basically different parts of the multiverse are brought together. So it's like the best parts of different worlds are connected, and it creates this thing called Battle World. So what people believed was it was supposed to be a Spider-Man story set in Battle World. So you're then seeing like all of these like, so yes, you'll see it's still a Spider-Man film, but it was going to basically be a multiversal one because it'll be a New York where like, I don't know, maybe you'll see Kingpin like referenced or like in the film, but then you might see, I don't know, like the Lizard from Andrew Garfield's film is going to be in it, or like the Scorpion comes back, but it's like 2 different versions of the Scorpion, stuff like that. So some people thinking it's that. Then apparently, I guess when this leaked, there was like people were just like, no, like we already had the multiverse with Spider-Man. We need like a grounded, like broke super like Spider-Man story where he's just like getting like he's trying to figure out life based off of what happened in No Way Home. So that's why the film basically is now what it is today, which is this like a grounded Spider-Man story. Because apparently like Tom Holland was saying he was like looking at like he was going on Spider-Man forums reading through like Spider-Man comments and like what people said they liked about the first three, his like trilogy and what they didn't like, and then also stuff that they liked from other things. So apparently the reason why we never got like, not necessarily live action, but like no VFX like Spider-Man, Tom Holland in the first three films like swinging through the city was because the director was just like, it just practically doesn't look good, doesn't make sense. But the director who's now doing it, who's the guy who did Shang-Chi, was like, oh, nah, like, the practicality of it is what makes it, like, is what people loved about, like, Andrew Garfield's
within the city of New York. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think to your point, Jeff, I think just from what both of you are saying, I think we all have to also consider that like the two key points is that the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman change everything. I think also COVID kind of put a bummer, because even the reports that for the second Black Panther film, because of COVID, the ending fight scene, they didn't have as many people from Wakanda fighting because of COVID restrictions and what was taking place. And I think one of the key things that I think since then Disney have had a trouble with is that, okay, we bought 20th Century Fox. We've got Fantastic Four. We've got Kang. We've got Doom. We've got the Skrull back, because the Skrull were actually linked to Fantastic Four, while the Kree were more across Marvel. So the Kree could then be in Guardians of the Galaxy, but they couldn't get it until they bought 20th Century Fox. And the funny thing about that is that 20th Century Fox had to release a film on the product every 3 years to then enable them to keep the rights. Hence why they came up with that awful Fantastic Four film in the mid 2010s. And the reason is because they had to do it. So even 20th Century Fox had the rights to Namor, because Namor originally, and just a backstory, because I'm a bit of a comic book nerd, the first actual comic book character in history is Namor. He was called Namor the Submariner, and he's the first comic book character, I think it was 1920s or 1930s. So he's the first. He's before Captain America, before Superman. So I think Marvel then just bought his comic book and then brought him into the Marvel universe. And the funny thing is that because the way they brought him in was through Fantastic Four, anything concerning him had to go through 20th Century Fox. They were able to get the rights for Blade back. They were able to get the rights for Namor. And then Fox were just playing games. So then Disney, and funny enough, 20th Century Fox was owned by Rupert Murdoch. So Disney said, all right, then if you're going to play these F-boy games, we'll just buy 20th Century Fox, and now we have the rights. And you can kind of see like a light bulb just switch on in Marvel's mind of, we've got Kang, we've got Fantastic Four, we've got the Skrull, we've got Secret Invasion, we've got Secret Invasion. And I think I think they should have taken a slower approach and then brought them in bit by bit by bit, and have Secret Invasion, to your point, maybe an overarching issue. Because I think that's the thing they did well with Thanos, was that Thanos was an overarching issue. Thanos was an issue in multiple Thor films, in Guardians of the Galaxy, portions of Captain America films, portions of Iron Man films. So then you kind of have, this is an overarching issue, and then having the resolution and the conclusion. And I think that's why Thanos worked so well, was that everything was under this overarching issue of this mad titan who is collecting stones, and we don't know what he's going to do once he collects them, until Gamora told us what he planned it to do, and then we heard it from his own mouth. So I think for Secret Invasion, they should have had it overarching that whole saga, and then have it that then the conclusion is in the TV series. And I think the reason why the Netflix shows did so well, and also why like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had like a really core fan base, is that it also provided a kind of like a result of what's taking place in the universe. And I think that's one thing that I don't know why fans always love. Okay, this is the overarching thing happening within Star Wars or within Star Trek or within DC or Marvel, but how does it affect the individuals? How does the Sokovia Accord affect the individuals? How did the Avengers Battle of New York affect individuals in the Netflix show? How did the viewpoint of, for example, Inhumans affect the greater American society that we saw within Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And I think that's why the street level Marvel does so well, is because we can see ourselves in that universe. We can't really see ourselves as much in an intergalactic universe or in espionage or in a cosmic or magical universe. But you can feel, I have to get up and go to my job the next day. And if now my car has been blown up by the Green Goblin, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Or for example, you've seen through Daredevil the fact that he gets beaten up and then has to go in, come up with excuses why he's got a black eye, why he's got blood and bits, and tell Foggy and tell Karen, like, oh yes, I'm fine, I just fell down some stairs. And like, that is something we'd expect the superhero to have to kind of like do. And I think that's why I think the street level is adored by fans, because it provides the realism which it's hard to do with magic or cosmic or on an espionage level.
No, I hear that completely, but I have a different take, because other than Secret Invasion on the streaming side of things, I think the streaming aspect has really worked in terms of character building. So if we look at from Loki, the first one, right, when that's when we start to sink our teeth into the streaming aspect. I think the reason why the cinematic, especially the box office, didn't work, or supposedly didn't work, is that, of course, after the Thanos saga, it kind of became a bit of a hard reset where they had to develop characters again. But when we actually look at the box office takings of a lot of those movies, maybe except for the Quantumania and the Captain Marvel, the box office for those two were really dismal. But apart from them, and I have an argument regarding that. When we actually look at the box office of all these other films, they've actually sort of aggregated similarly to, the build-up phase for the previous movies. If we look at like for like, we're back in that. All right, we're going to build up to a massive payoff. But I think what should have happened for Captain Marvel and also for Quantumania was it should have been a series. They should have been a series.
No, but I think I agree with you to a degree. I think with there's a few things to unpack. So I think with what Josh was saying, I think one thing that also we haven't talked about, which I don't think we need to get into here, but like I think another thing that impacted Marvel was, and I agree with everyone, that they should. So I'm not saying he's a bad actor, but I think pinning Kang around Jonathan Majors and having one actor playing like multiple, because that's what people said. They said if you
liked it though.
No, but it was but obviously.
Kang is an MFA,
No, 100%.
Jonathan Majors is an MFA.
Yeah, but like my main thing with it is because of all the like legal stuff that he was dealing with. Oh, yeah. And then Marvel was just like, cool, we're gonna get rid of him. It then meant that's why like now we've got Doomsday. Marvel would say that was their plan all along. I don't know if it was, because originally it was going to be called the Kang Dynasty.
But my argument here is, if Quantumania had been successful,
I still think they would have just recast him instead. I think that's what they would have done. Yeah. But my argument is,
I agree with Bernie, because remember, James Gunn had his issues. Remember when those tweets came up, and then people.
No, I was going to say, just remember with James Gunn, the difference between James Gunn and Jonathan Majors is even with James Gunn, so yes, he was fired, yes, he was brought back, but the cast, the key thing that with him was the cast wrote letters and signed stuff to tell Disney to be like, hey, let's bring, and it wasn't like, oh, some of the cast were like, yes, some of them were like, no. Everyone who was like the core Guardians was just like, yeah, like, we understand, like, basically it was just like, yes, we understand your decision, yes, we're not saying like, what he did was okay, but they were just like, look, he is not that same person who released those tweets. We should do that. My thing with Jonathan Majors is, at least to my knowledge, I didn't see anyone in Marvel come out and be like...
But can I throw a span in that work? Him coming back in Loki 2, the second season.
No, but it's because they filmed it already. They filmed season 1 and 2 back to back.
They're still cut it out if they really wanted to.
No, he's right. Jeffrey, he's right. Bernie's right. That if they really wanted to, they could have redone. If for example, if the charges were a lot worse than that, they would have just redone the whole series.
Yeah.
The same way that they redid multiple times Born Again. The first season of Born Again.
Born Again was different. Born Again got redone because basically they wanted it to be.
I understand that it's different, but I'm saying that they understand that if the situation is so bad that he cannot be on screen, they will refilm everything, rewrite it, because the PR hit of having him would be enormous.
But the thing to also remember is, like, he's only in the end. He's in the season finale. That's it, and he's only there for like 5 minutes. Because remember, all you see him.
Season 2, he's throughout the whole season.
He's in the Victor Timely parts. Yeah, he's in the Victor Timely parts.
My argument here is
no, but wait. You know why they didn't? You know why they didn't? Because when the legal case came, so.
The legal case was already over at that point.
No, it wasn't over. It wasn't over.
No, it wasn't over. It was ongoing.
It was over before season 2 was released.
Over. When season 2 started, it wasn't over. It wasn't over.
No, it was ongoing. It was ongoing.
It was ongoing because the incident happened. So what happened was the incident happened between season 1 and 2 coming out.
Yeah.
So I think it was the summer before season 2 came out.
Yeah.
They then dropped him.
Yeah.
And then because what happened was. It was after Comic-Con, so they'd already started the Loki promotional run. A decision hadn't been made, but the incident was made known to everyone. So they were just like, cool, we're going to get rid of him, boom. Season 2 was coming out, so in the lead up to season 2 was like, they were doing all of this stuff, all of that. Then the way it goes is Marvel had so Marvel do like a annual retreat of like the big heads up. So like, it's basically almost like Kevin Feige and like team will then work to figure out like the future of Marvel. So that's when they're, discussing like new shows, like the next Avengers film, how we're going to go into the mutant saga after like the multiverse stuff is done. So that's where all of that stuff gets decided. But then basically what happened was it's not confirmed, but what everyone believes happened is that's when they were just like, okay, what's the realistic thing that we can do here with with the Jonathan Majors situation? Because people were just like, because as soon as it happened, everyone was asking like, what's going to happen with Kang? Like, he's still in Loki, so maybe people were just like, yeah, maybe they'll bring him back, or they're trying to see like, oh, if they're like, depending on the outcome of the case, we will then bring him back or not. But then obviously like the case was still ongoing, like decisions were made, and I think basically when it came to this like retreat, that was before, and that's the other thing to remember. The retreat I think was before D23 or was it? I don't know. Because I think it was Comic-Con the following year was when they officially announced Doomsday. Yeah. Robert Downey Jr.'s back. They've changed up the things. They're not necessarily like they were just like, it's not a big change. All of this because I think what people were saying is Doom probably because in the comic book anyways, Doom still appears before Secret War starts. So some people are saying it's most likely that Doom would have still appeared, Doom would have still been in the film, but the film would have been more about like the Avengers and all these like multiversal versions of the Avengers and like superheroes. So literally like what we're still getting in Doomsdays, where it's like the X-Men from like the X-Men era.
But I heard a rumor that Kang must still feature in Doomsday.
I don't know about. I personally don't think they're going to put him in it. I think if they do put him in it, they're going to kill him off screen, or they're going to kill him. Like someone else is going to kill him. Because I personally it's not a spoiler. And then after this, I'll let you talk. There's a comic book panel where again this is like I don't know if Marvel adapt this, but this is your spoiler warning again. But Marvel, so in the comic book, there's a comic book panel. So do you know about the Beyonder?
The Beyonder.
Yeah. So Doom.
But I know about him in Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah. So Doom basically somehow ends up getting the Beyonder's powers. So
yes.
And there's a comic book panel where he rocks up. It's him, and this is also what I thought that when they officially announced the Fantastic Four film, I didn't think the bad guy was going to be Galactus. I thought it was going to be Annihilus because he's in that comic. He's in that panel.
That's right.
And basically, it's like Thanos, Annihilus, and I think some other like villains. They're all fighting each other, and basically Doom rocks up. Thanos is like basically like You think because you got power now, like you can step to me. I've killed gods. I've done this. I've done that. And then Doom just like one move, gets his spine, pulls literally like Mortal Kombat, pulls his spine out, and then just crushes his skull. And then Annihilus like basically just like bows down and worships Doom. So I think
that was post beyond the like post when he got the
beyond his powers. So I don't necessarily think they will do, like, some people are thinking maybe Marvel's going to adapt like something similar. So like they'll bring Josh Brolin back as Thanos to do something that's like multiversal. There's also like in my head, I was thinking they may do something similar, but more so around Kang. But I think like the very final thing I'll say before you speak, Joshua, is I think it's really up to Marvel, because I know they want to go into do like more mutant based stuff after this and like leave the multiverse behind. But I think the reason why they changed, like they didn't recast Jonathan Majors and they didn't necessarily like scrap him or act like Kang, because like Kang's been referenced in other stuff. Like he was referenced in Loki season 2. Obviously Quantumania was referenced as well. But I think they will bring Kang as a character without Jonathan Majors back, or they will bring him back. Because I agree with people. I think he was handled great in Loki season 1. I think Victor Timely was handled great in Loki season 2. I don't think, personally, he should have been Ant-Man's villain in Ant-Man and Ant-Man Quantumania. I think it was like he's without sounding harsh, I don't think he was the right villain for an Ant-Man film. I think it would have been better if it was someone else who deals with, like, personally, because also this, I know I keep saying you'll speak, Joshua, but you will speak. I think personally with Doctor Strange, because like, so there was a belief that Doctor Strange was going to be made. So you know how like the Avengers Infinity War Endgame is basically ultimately like Thanos. It's Thanos' story. And then the person who I think also had like quite a lot of high screen time was Iron Man. So it was almost like these two are going head to head. They're the like two big guys that are like at odds. Allegedly, it was supposed to be that Kang and Doctor Strange were going to do the same, because it was going to be around the argument that Doctor Strange, when he like taps into the multiverse and like does all of that stuff, he's doing that through magic. And there was this theory that like, oh, if you tap into the multiverse, so like with Spider-Man No Way Home, so the argument was like, oh, the reason why in that film he was able to like heal the multiverse with magic was because when magic is used to travel the multiverse, it's okay. But Kang using tech to travel the multiverse. And like that's why like Loki was like glitching in season 2. You know, they said if you want to link it to the wider like Marvel like films, like you're saying like with Into the Spider-Verse, that's why like in Into the Spider-Verse, if they don't have like the watch on their wrist, they glitch too. Because there was this theory that like if you travel the multiverse with tech, you're almost like, whereas with magic it's like almost like a door opening. It's like if you use tech, you're like kicking open the door. So I think, to summarize,
but just quickly, Jeffrey. But I think that's a really good point. I think one point which is comic book based is that Kang and also Doctor Doom believe that they are alternate versions of each other. So in the comics, some of the comics, Doom and Kang think that they are an alternate version of each other, because I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, the original Kang is an actual descendant of Reed Richards in the comics. And also, Kang originally comes up as a Fantastic Four villain. He also travels back in time as well, and then takes over Egypt. Hence why at the end of Ant-Man, you see like a guy with an Egyptian outfit. That's that specific Kang. And I think because so that's one way they can play it.
Him and Apocalypse at one point.
Yeah. So funny enough, both of them have ancient Egypt. One of them was trying to tear down ancient Egypt, which was Apocalypse, and the other was basically developing ancient Egypt, but then was chased away by the Fantastic Four. And I think, to your point, Jeffrey, on the discussion, I think one thing that I always say that Marvel needs to let people understand is, what is the difference between realms, universes, and timelines? Because remember, Doctor Strange was moving from one universe to the other. He wasn't moving from one timeline to the other. So the question people could ask is that, is timelines a pseudonym for universes? Because we understand that realms is based around the 9 realms, which is singled out within Loki and within Thor. But then there's also the realm of the Egyptian gods, which we were able to see through Moon Knight. There's also the realm through hopefully I'm saying it correctly, through Black Panther. So then those are realms and also afterlives. So maybe that's within the space within Thor, is that is a form of realm, and Valhalla is also one of them. And I think also is that the pseudonym between timeline and universe needs to be decided. That does a timeline have multiple universes within it? Hence why Loki glitching is even bigger, because then it's like you've got one timeline which has infinite universes in it, or are universes and timelines the same thing? So I think that's a key thing to understand, because then it also gives you the proper power scale of like the way that people talked about the TVA and Loki season 1. If each timeline has multiple universes, then you understand how powerful the TVA is, and you can actually understand how powerful Kang is. And I believe that should be the option that Marvel should go with, is that timelines have multiple universes. Hence, when Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange 2 was going through these different universes, we didn't see any of that when we then went to the Loki TV series. So that's the major thing that I'm hoping, is that they're not interchangeable. The timeline has multiple universes within it, and therefore it gives us endless possibilities. It gives us endless things that can then take place. And I think it also reinstates the importance of the TVA, the way that it's talked about in the comics. And I think to going forward, especially with the way that they are going to bring in Doom, I think, to Jeffrey, your point, I think they want to use Doom as a point to reset the universe. And the first experiment of this will be showcased within Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man film. And I think a key thing that they did, which was very clever, with Namor being in Black Panther 2, is that people forget that Namor is also, he's Atlantean.
Yeah.
Which they're putting Talocan, and he's also a mutant. And he's also, so his human side is mutant, and he's a combination of Talocan, Atlantean, and a mutant. So people are asking, is this with him being put, and I think people are also saying it's prophetic as well, because the fact that he is the first comic book character, as I mentioned earlier, from the 1920s and 30s, that he is the first technically mutant in the MCU.
Yeah.
Because we then do see
he's the first. Like in the MCU, it will be different. So he's the first. So
who would you say before him?
Because in Miss Marvel, this is where it gets confusing, because they say in Miss Marvel that she's based. That's why she can use the bangle. It's not because of like anything cosmic, or like because she's an Inhuman, which is the comic book.
Yeah, but you know, they scrapped the Inhuman because it was successful.
But in the thing they say she's a mutant. That's why she's able to use the bangle.
Yeah, but but that was a retcon, wasn't it?
Yeah, they did it differently. So that, because also they didn't want to. Well, that's a whole other story. But yeah, so apparently she's technically the first person who's announced as being a mutant.
Yeah, but the oldest mutant has to be Namor.
But it depends on like what they do. It depends on what they do. So this is where it's like getting confusing. So some people believe that, so like with Wonder Man, they're saying Wonder Man isn't, so in the comic books, Wonder Man was experimented on, that's how he gets his power. So technically he's not a mutant. He's a person who was like experimented on and got his power, similar to ultimately, if we're thinking about, well, Spider-Man's a unique story because
Quickly to say something concerning this. They kind of hint on this in the Wonder Man TV show, because they bring in, so from the Wonder Man comics, there are 3 individuals. So there's also Doorman, who's also in the Wonder Man TV series. And funny enough, it's those people yet again, Roxxon. Roxxon are at it again. So you saw it in Cloak and Dagger and them getting their powers through Roxxon. You also see that Doorman touches a substance from Roxxon, and then spoilers here, apologies for spoilers for Wonder Man. He touches some goo.
It's been out for months.
If you haven't seen it,
It's been out for months.
You're square.
He touches the goo and gets his powers, but they say that Doorman, Wonder Man, and also this could possibly Wonder Man Season 2, so this is a major spoiler. In the comics, Wonder Man's brother has powers which are linked to death. And their powers, Doorman, Wonder Man, and his brothers, their three powers are kind of like linked to I think his brothers might be magic, I believe, that he linked to death. But it could be that all three of them have got their powers from Roxxon, from what Marvel did with Cloak and Dagger, with like, oh yeah, they didn't really get their powers from magic like some comics say. It's actually Roxxon experiments that seems to always keeps on giving.
With Wonder Man, I don't think they say in the show that he got his abilities from he got his abilities.
No, they don't. But it's the hint that Doorman, in the comics, Doorman's powers and where he gets it from is similar to where Wonder Man gets his power from. So fans think that could that be the route? Because Daredevil was Roxxon. What's her name again? I think Jessica Jones was also Roxxon as well.
No, I think Daredevil may have been Alchemax.
In the TV series.
The TV series, I don't know. I've season 1
I think,
came out.
in the MCU, it might be Roxxon as well. So it seems like Roxxon are just giving out people powers left, right, and center.
But I think with I think with Wonder Man, so I think I've heard the opposite. So it's believed that basically with the, what they call Department of Control, that they're basically, New Rockstars were talking about it, but they were saying that they believe that essentially Wonder Man, because they went after Miss Marvel, because allegedly it's most likely that they're going to be based off the trailers in Spider-Man. So it's believed that essentially like the Department of Control are basically going to be set up to be I've forgotten what the government group are who go after mutants, but it's believed that they're going to basically take over.
NRD.
Yeah, so it's believed that like they're going to turn into that, because like that's why at the end of Wonder Man they arrest. But they were looking throughout Wonder Man. That's why they want him. And that's why Miss Marvel, they were going after her, not because like, oh, she's like got powers and she's not on the Sokovia Accords, but it's believed that like they want to like start grouping and caging, especially more so. That's why, like in Spider-Man, so there's a bit in the trailer, if I can find the clip, I'll put it up on the screen, but there's a bit in the trailer where you see him being like analyzed, and some people are just like, yes, maybe this is like Bruce Banner like doing an analysis to like check up on his powers, but some people are thinking, oh, maybe that's the Department of Control, because they want to categorize, is Spider-Man, which is a classic thing that people debate, is it Spider-Man a mutant, or is Spider-Man like just someone who just like, similar to like Captain America, he was a human, he interacted with some like chemicals or like was interacting with a thing. But then also Spider-Man's a weird one.
Yeah, to your point. Oh, yeah, Bernie.
Oh, no. You think about let finish?
Yeah, but so with Spider-Man, the final thing with Spider-Man being a weird one is because obviously I kind of hint of it in the animated Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse films, but like Spider-Man's also got the there's the web of destiny, so there's also like a mystical, like magical element to Spider-Man too. Yeah, so it's also this argument that like, is Spider-Man, like, are spider people really just people who are like mutants, or are they? Because like there's a reason. So apparently that's the reason why Spider-Man as a villain. Spider-Man as a hero. A lot of his villains are animal based, because it's believed that like Spider-Man as like whichever one, whether it's Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, whoever, they basically get like the spider totem, and then everyone else gets other animal ones. So that's why like you got Rhino, Doc Ock, Scorpion, all of this stuff. So that's why like it's believed.
I get what you're saying, Jeff.
Yeah,
no, I get it.
So that's why people say like
it's elegant.
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting. Yeah, Jeffrey, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, I've kind of forgot what were you saying in the last bit? You're talking
About the
about.
DOC, the Department of Control, trying to become the
Yeah,
new
so, yeah.
anti-mutant.
It's mentioned in Wonder Man that basically they've got a huge facility
Mm,
and which taxpayers are paying for, and that it's half empty, so they need to put people in. So that's one of the reasons they
mm,
want to bring him in. And also in the finale of the series, they basically realize how powerful he is, and they just mention like if we could utilize what he has, just
mm,
thinking about how powerful they are. And then this kind of like links into the discussion that Mr. Charles in Daredevil
mm,
season
mm,
2 had with Jessica Jones, that Luke Cage is doing the Lord's work abroad. So it could be that some of them they want to put within the detention center, which I think there is one out east, no, out west, I think near San Francisco, maybe. Because I think it's first shown in She-Hulk. But some of them they want to recruit, similar to Thunderbolts,
mm.
but others they want to recruit into teams who will then do the the United States bidding, especially with no shield, and it seems like there isn't that much of sword at all either. I think it
Mm,
feels like the United States are basically saying we tried to kind of like encroach in Wakanda, but maybe we should stay off that. But we
mm.
can still exert global control by having these enhanced people do basically opt for us across the world and with via the CIA.
But with that as well, I know. So I don't know if it's mentioned in Daredevil, but it's believed that basically, so Mr. Charles is basically working for Valentina from the Thunderbolts. So
Yeah.
he's doing all the stuff for her, and then this not. They haven't really confirmed what's happening. Like if the Department of, because basically like in Thunderbolts, it's like made clear that like so Valentina's got her own like company that she controls, but also she's still the director of the CIA. But it's unclear if like she is still leading, like if she as director of the CIA is like basically is involved in the Department of Control. So like if she's overseeing them. But yeah, I think the final thing I'll say.
Good. What you could technically say is that as it's like one government, it could be that, especially with Ross being president, it could be that this is his.
He's not
This is
president
also
anymore.
probably just me thinking he's not
He's not
president.
president. Yeah, he got removed
Okay.
at the end of the film. That's why.
Who's president?
See, that's what I mean. Like, that's what people are saying. The difficulty with Marvel is they're not. There's no. Like you don't meet the new president post, because I think the president is or maybe I think maybe they're referencing Thunderbolts at the Congress person dinner that Bucky goes to. But yeah, they're referencing Thunderbolts that because of like what happened, he's no longer the president. But again, like they also said, yep.
So I was just thinking potentially the angle that they could take is that the new president in this new regime is more stricter on enhanced individuals and also wants to utilize them as resources as a part of the government. Hence, you've got the Thunderbolts. Hence, you've also got Luke Cage. And some people are thinking, hopefully, it's Luke Cage and also Iron Fist together on an adventures and alleged heroes for hire. And I think just bringing it back to the discussion, I think the key thing that all of us have said is that there are so many questions that Marvel needs to answer, and I think we've all agreed is that it's better for them to kind of like take it slow and think through the process, so then you can kind of like answer these questions bit by bit by bit, and then answer it in a way that a person doesn't have to then watch a specific TV series or specific film. Like myself, I thought, because I haven't seen Captain America 4, I thought Ross was still president, but not knowing that had actually changed, or if I missed that part in Thunderbolts or forgot it, I would then be kind of like left behind. And I think that's where they can use the TV shows to kind of like use the slower pace to then teach people an understanding, like what the Loki season 1 did for everybody. It gave people an understanding of timelines, the importance of timelines, the importance of understanding the flow of time and the flow of actions taking place. And I think that's another key question that I think needs to be answered, is that the TVA is anti-robots. And is that because of Ultron?
So I think
that's one of the things in the first, I think it was episode 2, that they said robots aren't allowed, or cybernetics. And is that to negate Ultron, or is there a big other form? So, for example, it could be Jocasta, who that's the robot, the basically female Ultron, who then becomes an Avenger. So similar to like with Frankenstein, that the monster makes his own monster to have a bride just like him. Ultron does the same with Jocasta, but then she actually becomes an Avenger and becomes a good person. So then answering that question of, okay, why does the TVA have such a strict rule on robots? And then if they have such a strict rule on robots, then what is Miss Minutes? Is she an AI? Is she... So I think the thing we're hoping for the future of Marvel is to answer these questions and answer it in a slow, staggering pace, so that then we can get these answered and provide actually conclusions to these answers.
So I think with your comment on like the robots thing, I think that's going to be answered. They haven't, and like they've announced, like it's not. There's no trailer or any. Well, there's apparently been a trailer, but no one's seen it unless you go to these like screenings of stuff and like Comic-Con halls and that. But I think it's supposed to be answered in. So they're going to do a show called Vision Quest. I don't know when Vision Quest is supposed to come out, but Vision Quest is supposed to follow on from what was that show? WandaVision. So it's supposed to be like a
Vision flew off. Remember, Vision flew off.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be a like following on from that, and it's supposed to showcase Wanda, like basically supposed to show Vision and like how he finds himself back to who he was. But with that story, it's a bit different. So
we don't get Vision again at some point in the later series.
He's not in anything. He's not been in anything.
And we're talking about a white Vision.
Yeah, he's not been in anything. He was only in What If as a what if scenario. But
yeah.
But yeah, with that show, it's supposed to be about how Vision basically finds himself, and based on like linking to what you were saying, Joshua, it's supposed so it's supposed to be like a show. I don't know what type of show it's supposed to be like, whether it's a comedy or like drama or whatever, but it's supposed to be set in his head. So you'll see Ultron, but you won't see robot version of Ultron. You will see the actor who plays Ultron, who is basically portraying himself physically. Like you said, like Jocasta, you'll see her cast as someone else who plays a physical embodiment of who she is, but it's all because it's in like Vision's mind and how he's trying to figure out like who Vision is, like post the stuff that happened in WandaVision. So I think some of the stuff is going to get answered, but I think, like you said, I think the issue is, and that's what people said as well, and I know they're moving away from it, which is fine, but like I think the issue with like I guess maybe not issue, but I guess maybe to summarize like maybe from phase 4 to now, I think the issue with Marvel is there's just not been continuity, whereas with the previous films there was. So even if you didn't necessarily get like within each phrase, you got like at least one Captain America film. If you think about it, to be fair, we got 4 Avengers films across the first 3 phases, and across these 3 phases, next 3 phases, we're only getting 2. And they're all actually within the last 2 phases of the film, of this saga of films.
But do we even have a phase going on still?
Yeah, they still do phases.
Yeah, because they are
still doing
phases. Yeah, they still do phases. Yeah.
But speaking of which, is there no series 2 of WandaVision?
Nah, because WandaVision. So basically, WandaVision is. So this is what I mean by like clarity just needs to be given and stuff. So WandaVision is apparently supposed to be considered a trilogy, but it's 3 separate limited shows. So WandaVision was the first season, if you want to take it. Then Agatha All Along is.
But Agatha's got 2 seasons now, hasn't it?
Nah, it's only got 1.
Sure.
Yeah, it's only
got
one.
And also, Jeff, I just have a point to continue on from, as you mentioned, Agatha, after you finish.
Yeah, so and then WandaVision is going to be the third like trilogy of the Wanda set. So that is like one, but that's what people said. So like people are just like, is Moon Knight going to get a season 2? Is Moon Knight going to be in Daredevil? Not Daredevil. Is Moon Knight going to be in Avengers? Daredevil season 3 is supposed to, if things have gone like the same way for the last 2 years, it's supposed to take place between Avengers, Secret Wars, between Doomsday and Secret Wars. So is it going to be a multiverse-based story, or are they going to just basically say, hey, look, this actually took place prior to the events of Avengers Doomsday? Again, Shang-Chi, great. He's going to be in the next Avengers film, but it's been years since his film came out. So what's Shang-Chi? Ended on a cliffhanger. So what's happening with Shang-Chi? Eternals. Yeah, it may not have done well. What's happening with the Eternals? Like,
I know they scrapped that one.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, people are just like, at the end of the day, like, you can't be like, oh, we're going to...
I'm going to that as well,
Yeah, it's a bit good.
I think another thing that Marvel have done is that they've mentioned, so for people who don't know, there are the big bads. So above Marvel is the one above all, and below that level, you've got the big bads, which are Mephisto, Death, Dormammu, who's the guy, King of the Symbiontes? What's his name again? Null?
Oh, Null.
Yeah.
And then there's someone else. I keep missing the last person. We've seen 3 of them, but the issue also is that these are entities which are way above, they're a tier above anybody else in the MCU, probably even 2 or 3 tiers above anybody else. They're probably 5 tiers above Thanos. They're 5 tiers above Odin. They're 5 tiers above Kang. Like, we've seen Death and Agatha all along. We've seen Null, and we understand that, especially, which we haven't mentioned, but Spider-Man is still owned by Columbia Pictures under Sony. So you've also had the Kraven the Hunter flop. You've had the Madam Web flop. And you had the last Venom film that didn't do too well. So we've seen Null shown. And then we've also seen Dormammu. And potentially people are saying that especially Mephisto hasn't been shown as much. And with the 3 others is that their power levels...
He was only in... Mephisto was only in Ironheart.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, he's in Ironheart. Okay. So now they've shown 4 of the big 5. How do you then keep the universe grounded? Like, you've got Death speaking to Agatha, like 2 former lovers but Death is the overarching thing across the universe. You've got Doctor Strange tricking Dormammu into a loop, but Dormammu has broken the loop, and he's not going to just chill there in the universe and do nothing, especially with Doctor Strange mixing, melding with the multiverse.
Have a relationship.
And even people think that's how Thanos will come back, is that Death will bring back Thanos, and maybe in 10, 15 years, and people are saying, so you then have more of the comic book based Thanos who's in love with Death and wants to end life to then bring her into the picture.
That's coming out next year is Secret Wars.
Okay, yeah.
But I guess maybe very quickly, what's everyone's? Yeah, I don't think Marvel's got enough coming out to do a top 3. So I'd say what's your top Marvel thing that you're looking forward to over the next 2 years? Because I guess we all know that we don't really know. We know that they're going to there's going to be an X-Men film. They're going to do mutants most likely in 2028. Things like Black Panther 3 have been confirmed. There's no release date, but that's been confirmed. Allegedly another Shang-Chi film. Doctor Strange 3. But yeah, so I guess very quickly, whichever one of you 2 wants to go first.
Doomsday for me.
Doomsday for you?
I'm really, really, really excited about that.
Okay.
It's good to get Avengers back together. 7, 8 years now?
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, almost 7. Yeah, it'll be almost. Yeah, it must be 9. Yeah, because Doomsday.
2019.
Yeah, Doomsday. The Endgame came out in 2018.
Yeah, and then the second one came in 2019.
2019. Yeah. And I think the last one before COVID was Spider-Man: Far From Home.
No, Spider-Man. Oh yeah, it was there. That was Far From Home was before.
Yeah, and then that's when COVID kicked in. Yeah.
No, you're thinking of No Way Home.
Yeah. The Home's always for.
Yeah, always. Yeah, the same for me as well.
What about you, Joshua?
Did you say top 2 or top 3?
No, just your top 1.
Top one. I know that Avengers Doomsday is going to be amazing. So I'll put that off the list, and also Bernie, because you've mentioned it as well, so we can have a bit of different choices. I would say Daredevil season 3, because then it kind of then puts a bow on the end of the Netflix whole saga, because now you've got Jessica Jones who's in it. You've also got the mentioning of Luke Cage. People asking. You've also got the Punisher as well. So the question,
he is going to be in the. They haven't announced it, but due to like leaked photos from sets, both him and Danny Rand are coming back. Same actors.
Yeah, and I think that is a key thing for me, is that the Netflix shows were so perfect, and we've waited to get them into the MCU. Just seeing the greater universe and how it then affects as we mentioned at the beginning of the whole episode today, how does that affect the street level heroes? And also the casting of Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, the Punisher, Daredevil, like a bit of the casting of Iron Fist. I think he did a lot better in season 2, but were done so well. It also gives us a picture of what is the future of Netflix, not Netflix, Disney Plus TV shows. Because we've got specific TV shows. We then have the specials, which like the Wolf by Night, the Punisher one as well. And then you've also got Marvel Spotlight, which was which Wonder Man was. So I think also it kind of like sets the tone. I think Daredevil season 3 will set the tone of what is a Disney Plus Marvel TV series.
I think for me, I'll keep it different to the two of yours. I think both of those are really good answers. I will say Spider-Man, Brand New Day. I think there's a plethora of reasons, but I think ultimately, as a Spider-Man fan myself, I think it's a film that will bring. Actually, to be fair, I could have done a non-MCU related. It's an MCU episode, so I won't say Beyond the Spider-Verse, but I probably would say that's probably my top film that I'm excited for next year, aside from Secret Wars. But I would say specifically with Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think it's the film that I think that's why a lot of Spider-Man fans are hyped for it, because it's the film that fans wanted. It's a grounded Spider-Man story. Like, everyone was just like, and I think, because I personally had no beef with the Tom Holland films. I thought those were good. I've always said that, what's his name? Tobey Maguire is a good Peter Parker, not the best Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield is not the best Peter Parker, great Spider-Man. Tom Holland is a great balance of both. And I feel like everyone's argument has been like, he's got all this tech, he's been getting all this support from Iron Man, this and that. So I feel like getting a Spider-Man who doesn't have that, who is literally like let's say the lowest point in his life that he could be, and he's been able to build, I think that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for people, because then essentially for me it's like, you can't then just trash on Tom Holland for being like, he's Iron Man, he's Junior, he lives in his shadow. It's like, no, this is a grounded Spider-Man story. I think also, if they do a Spider-Man trilogy again, which would be wild because that's 6 films, but that's a whole other thing.
This is Tom Holland though as well.
Yeah, this one's Tom Holland. Yeah. So I think my thing would be as well, the thing I'm excited for is it's done by the same director who did Shang-Chi. So expect a lot of
He also did Wonder Man as well.
Yeah, he did Wonder Man as well. So he's going to have a lot of hands. The physical fights are going to be great. Well, they've not confirmed who the ninjas are, but there's an 80% chance they're most likely the hand. Yeah. So we're going to get a tie-in, potentially, depending on how Daredevil ends, which I won't spoil here because that's more recent, but depending on how Daredevil ends, that could be, we might see Daredevil in the film. I think for me, I'm very much excited to what the...
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff. To your point about Spider-Man, sorry to butt in. I saw Wikipedia who they're bringing in. So spoilers, are you two both fine with who they're bringing in from the Spider-Man universe to be in the film?
Into Daredevil or
No, into the Spider-Man 4.
Are they in the trailer?
No, not in the trailer, but are in the credits. Or do you want to wait and see them in the film?
No.
Okay,
let's talk about this once the film's released. I'll just say they're bringing the heat from the comics.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about after the call. But yeah, no, I think that's like Spider-Man. I think will be sick. And I think the success of Spider-Man will encourage Marvel to do, and to be fair, the success of that's why Wonder Man's getting a season 2, is it will encourage Marvel to make projects that are not like a Marvel project first. So Spider-Man being a great grounded story will be great because it's a grounded superhero story and not because it's an MCU project. Wonder Man is great. So, I know there are people that have watched Wonder Man who don't like Marvel, but they were just like, "Oh, Wonder Man's great because it's not a Marvel project." So I feel like that is what I'm excited to see more of. I would like Marvel to then, based on this, be like, like we're gonna embrace like stuff. And even like one final thing I'll say is people were saying, so someone was saying, like you were saying before, Joshua, about like connecting to the wider stuff happening in Marvel. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was good for that. They got rid of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They don't really confirm whether Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon within the MCU, and everyone has their own opinions. But I would say, this person was saying, I forgot what this podcast is called, but I see the clips on Instagram all the time. They were saying like, oh, what they would love as Marvel fans is more projects where it's like, imagine someone, let's say like the Battle of New York, like in the first Avengers film, it's like, cool, imagine you're basically doing like films that are not based on Marvel, like it's not a Marvel film, but it's centered around Marvel events.
Like the way people say they love Andor because it's not about the Force, it's about bureaucracy and it's about how the Empire works. That'll be amazing. So
imagine if you're doing like I guess like Joshua was saying, like you could do a legal drama where it's not like, so like She-Hulk maybe do a cameo or their reference, but it's a legal drama about how a lawyer is going to operate in a world where you've got like superheroes, you've got aliens, you've got mystical things. That could be a comedy, that could be a drama, that could be a thriller. And it's not that this person is a superhero, it's someone who just operates within this world.
Just quickly, a good example, like if someone has a healing factor like Wolverine, or someone that can come back to life like through like the Lazarus pit through DC. If someone kills them, is that murder? Or if someone beats someone to a stage, they almost die, they know the person can recover from it, is that still attempted murder? Like that would be a good thing to like have like in
So I think that's what my hope is from like all of this stuff is that like Marvel, and I think especially now that like post Secret Wars, like I don't think it's it's not really a spoiler, but like Joshua said, there's going to be like basically everything's going to be like brought together. So the Fantastic Four will exist in the same world as like the X-Men, who will exist in those X-Men. I don't think it's a spoiler. It's like most likely that all, if not some of them, are going to die because like there's no way they're going to bring back Patrick Stewart to be Professor X for like the next like couple of years.
Because if anything from Doctor Strange was to go by, we might have an overlap of the different.
Literally the whole world, all of these universes are going to combine. And I won't even go into like we don't have time, but I won't go into.
Actually, there was a question I wanted to ask around that because we got. What's his name? The guy that doesn't speak from Inhumans. Does it mean that we're getting a tie-in from Inhumans? After they've been forgiven?
I don't know. This is the honest answer. I think it's been enough time. Personally, I think Inhumans were handled better in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. than they were in. I mean, to a degree, there was but I agree they were handled better. I think they may put like teasers to it. I don't think they'll necessarily like confirm anything yet. But I personally like this isn't, again, I don't know anyone at Marvel. I don't know anything about this, but I think most likely, if anyone's interested in seeing how Secret Wars could go, or like how something similar, the CW like DC universe, so like Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Batwoman did like their own version of this, which is called Crisis on Infinite Earths, and essentially it deals with the same thing. So it's this multiversal thing. There's this thing that's ending all of these worlds. and then it basically ends with all of their worlds basically being combined into one universal place. So the reason why I mention that is because I think that's most likely how Secret Wars is going to end. So obviously the heroes will win, the world gets reset. I don't imagine they're going to end Secret Wars on a cliffhanger. So it'll be like, oh my days, like, did the good guys do it? Or like, what's the future looking like? I think most likely it will end basically you will see some things to confirm. So like the things I think we'll see confirmed is like the Baxter building from Fantastic Four is going to be in the same world. Right? So it'll be in all of these places. But I think that will be like the main difference between, I think they will tease some stuff. They will leave some stuff to like think about in the future. Mm-hmm. So there may be like an Inhuman reference, or there may be like I don't know, like maybe one of the mutants who was in the X-Men universe comes over to the main MCU. So like I'm thinking Gambit, like Channing Tatum's Gambit may come in, like they may keep him in the main MCU. But like,
because we saw a glimpse of that from the ending of Captain Marvel, the second one.
So I think they'll keep some of that stuff, but then they won't necessarily confirm like everything. So, they won't confirm like, because again, I don't imagine Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, if he is going to be in the film, I think he's going to get killed off quickly or killed off screen.
But I think it's getting recast, isn't it?
Yeah, Wolverine's 100% going to. I don't think they'll keep Hugh Jackman. Like again, it's the same thing with Professor X or any of them. I don't think they should keep them in it.
But we had the Days of Future Past characters.
I don't think they'll bring, because they're the same characters. They're the same characters, so it'll be the same thing.
No, he's talking about Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, I know. I don't think they'll bring them back. I think they're going to
They could.
Nah,
but the question is,
I don't think
that could be annoying to the fan base.
No.
Because then you've got 3 different Magnetos, and then you can. Then I think that's the issue that DC had is if you kind of have.
You've got the same.
Two at the moment.
No, what I'm saying is that
one's older, one's younger.
Yeah, but we'll say the actors.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah. So 2 interpretations. You would have 3 interpretations of Magneto.
Yeah, I'm telling you, 100%. They're gonna, because their argument would be I think this is how. Anyway, I'll say this. Josh will say his thing, and then we'll wrap up. I think the way it goes is they will recast all the X-Men. They will not recast the X-Men. Like, so a lot of people have been saying this online. I don't think the first X-Men project is gonna be like big team X-Men. It's gonna be like.
Let me just interject very quickly with this, because I heard a rumor that. When they were considering Storm.
Oh, is this Cynthia Erivo?
Jade.
Jade from WWE?
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I think she I don't know. I've never seen her act. I think she looks the part, but I think they will go with someone who they are more confident with. And I believe there's I've forgotten what is this guy's Instagram? Oh. I think his name is Straw Hat Pirate. He's this black guy in America. He does interviews with celebrities. He's got his own podcast. He interviewed, this wild way to describe it. The black woman in Sinners, who she dates, or she's a married woman who the guy who plays the guitar, like, they end up like because I don't want to bleep this out. They end up together. Like in
the final scene.
No. So not Haley Steinfeld and Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, I just want Taste Joe. That one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
so her, she, funny enough, was also in.
Sorry, we can't remember her name.
Look, man.
Everyone knows reference.
She was in Batman. I don't know. I don't know. Remember? I didn't actually remember she was in the Batman with Robert Pattinson. But she plays the mayor, I think. Yeah. But she. Yeah. So the Straw Hat guy asked her, if Marvel called you up, they feel like slid a white wig your way, if they gave you the script, would you do it? She was laughing, because obviously, like, all these actors are never going to say, like, if Marvel's approached them for some of this stuff. But I think, of anyone, I think it should be her. Everyone's got different.
Why? Why do you think?
I personally think she's super talented. Okay. I think she's a great actress. I think she, because I think, like, I heard different people have different opinions on, like, what type of actor should play certain roles. So, like, some people were saying, like, obviously, not speaking ill of the dead, but some people are just like, let me rephrase it. So people are just like, Chadwick Boseman may not be African, T'Challa is, but he was able to like embody the character really well. Like there was even a thing about like they were saying that I don't know if it was specifically let me just say Marvel. I don't know who, but like he was saying there was a thing that like he was told, oh, you shouldn't like basically T'Challa should speak in like an English accent, or like he should like basically shouldn't speak like he's African. And he was like, why? Like the man is like, it wasn't like he grew up like he's born and bred in Wakanda, lived in Wakanda. Like even if you're doing this, he went to like another school to whatever. Like it's just like, it doesn't make sense. So people are just like, oh, should it be like an African actor is given that role? Should it be like an African American? Should it be like a black British person? Like stuff like that. But then some people are saying, like, with certain characters, like, for example, a big one is Miles Morales. So should Miles Morales be played by someone who, and I personally agree, or I lean more towards than, like, with the Storm. Like, with Storm, I think it should be someone, ideally, if they were African, great. But if not, I think
the best person for the role should play it. I don't care where they come from, but they got to be black.
No, obviously they got to be black. Yeah, no.
She might not be African. For example, the guy who plays M'Baku, he's West Indian.
But I feel like if you're not
the mannerisms and the accent of that's the key thing. You need to be able to portray it.
I can't say anyone else. And again, these guys are like MFAs.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But I think that's what's needed. But like with Miles, the reason why I can understand Miles, I can understand is because also him being Puerto Rican is a huge part of the personality.
Okay, let's go back. Because this conversation around like the Boricuas and they claim it's half black, half Puerto Rican. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, he is. He's in the comic books. His mom's Puerto Rican.
That goes back to my point. Boricuas claim African. So
but like these, like it's a whole. Even in the,
they should find someone of the complexion. No, Cardi B's Dominican. He needs to be. I think what it needs to be is someone from Puerto Rico who is of the darker complexion, who has.
I think is fine.
I think that's important. It's like for Shang-Chi, it was important for him to be. He had to be East Asian. He couldn't be Southeast Asian because there is cultural differences. I know some white people will say, "Oh, they look the same," but no. There are key cultural differences. Like, for example, Kamala Khan had to be someone who was South Asian. Like, that is part of her character. And no white person can give off that. So if someone was playing Storm, I would say they have to be able to they have to be able to have and display the African mannerisms she has, especially if they want to tie in her link with T'Challa, and actually the fact in the comics they actually get married and have a child together.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, no, that's what my thing is. I think it should be a mix of. That's why I say I'm not saying like it needs to be on the casting call. Like the person needs to be specific to. But I just feel like, especially with Miles, like him being like, I think like Joshua said, like with Storm, her being African is a huge part of her personality. With Miles, him being like, there's literally a comic book panel where he gets annoyed because basically someone sees him with just like, basically his costume gets ripped, so someone sees that like, oh, Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man is black. So she's like, oh, we got black Spider-Man, great. And then his friend's like, oh my days, like, don't you feel like this is great? And he's like, nah, like, I'm not just black. Like, I'm also Puerto Rican, and both parts are an important part of my personality. We see in the Spider-Verse films that, again, like, he speaks Spanish, he embraces his Puerto Rican side. So I think for me, it's like to cancel one, or like to ignore one side completely just doesn't feel good. Like,
no, I agree completely. But then again, like when I think about Puerto Ricans, I know we get like the really light-skinned Puerto Ricans, but then we get people like Noriega from.
No, 100%.
So that's what sometimes I get that.
But it's also the same argument that like people are saying like Storm can't be played by someone who's like light in complexion, or like people are upset with
You can't.
Oh yeah, with Tracy Chapman as well. Like people are upset with Aaron Pierre playing Jon Stewart from DC playing like one of the Green Lanterns, because they were saying that like Jon Stewart in the comics and in all his depictions he's dark skinned, so you can't just be like do you remember
there's another point on this that me and Jeffrey kind of like talked about. There is a Captain America film, right? And not film, a Captain America game that is set in World War II with T'Challa's grandfather. And the issue is they have picked the guy who portrays him, and they also have the visual facial appearance is someone who is light-skinned West Indian. So the issue that I had is that you can't make that make sense. That if this is T'Challa's grandfather and Wakanda has been a closed-off country in East Africa, he cannot be light-skinned. Like there are. And also of that complexion.
You know why they can but they can just get away with it is not the right word. The reason why they can do it is because, like, you see it in the film, that they showcase that there's different, like, what's the word I'm trying? Basically, they showcase, there's different complexions, so that's why they'll say that that's fine. That's why I told you, like, in the film, it's fine, because they'll just say, in the game, it's fine.
No one is as light as that actor, though, in Wakanda.
But again, like I'm not going to be rude. Wakanda is a big nation and like spread equally across different areas. And also, even in the what was the Marvel thing that they did? The Marvel limited series, animated series they did about like Wakanda throughout history. They've also showcased that people did like go through to Wakanda. And also,
but the depiction of his grandfather is someone
Joshua,
who's
I don't.
Marvel even did this was before Chadwick Boseman was announced.
Family tree one.
A family tree.
Yes, I know about the family tree.
Whole family. But what I'm saying is then it's completely different from the actual depiction. For example, if he'd never been depicted, I'd understand. But if you've got him depicted in a specific way,
they don't have to look like the depiction. Like Tom Holland doesn't look like Peter Parker.
I didn't say he had to look like the depiction, but if you are saying that the king of Wakanda, who you've depicted as a dark-skinned black person from Africa, it is then more difficult to then understand why you are then picking someone who is more of a lighter complexion to play him in a video game.
Berne said that he was the best one for the job.
He better pull that role off.
No, he is. It's this guy who plays Cyborg. He's voiced Cyborg in Teen Titans. Like, he basically put... him. Yeah, him. Okay. Yeah. He's a talented... Like, he can do the job.
That being said, let me go back to Miles Morales. I feel like the guy that voices him in the...
Don't say you should play him. Don't say that. The brother, no.
What's his name again?
He's too old.
No, Shamik Moore, no.
I have to give it.
Get out of here before I kick you out.
I'm not give it to Shamik, man. It's just got an aura.
No.
It should be him.
No,
get stunned over to the studs.
No, you know you should get. Let me get this brother. I don't even think people will know his name.
Shamik.
It should be either. Everyone said that it's most likely going to be. Jeez. Well, anyway, let me say the person I think it should be. It should be Miles Brown, who's in Blackish.
Yeah.
Jack, yeah. So
I like Jack, but
no. So Jack specifically, let me get this right.
Why? What's special about Jack for that role?
So he's Afro-Latino.
Okay.
So, but also age-wise, that's what I'm saying as well. Because Shamik Moore, let's say if they do it in the MCU, which they're most likely going to, because apparently the only reason why we've not got Miles yet is because Sony were just like, Marvel can't touch Miles Morales until the Sony like version of him and that film trilogy is done. So basically, the earliest Marvel can have plans to bring him in, but the earliest Miles can appear is basically, let's say the film's coming out next year. So from 2028 onwards is when Miles Morales could be in a Marvel film.
Shamik would have been too.
He's too old. He's too old.
He's already too old, but he's already too old.
Yeah, he's already too old. The only
he's in his 30s. Shamik Moore is around that age.
Yeah, he's in his 30s. He's not.
He doesn't look younger.
He can't play a teenager like in 16 years, 16-year-old.
He's supposed to look younger than Miles, than Peter Parker. And Tom Holland is only a few years off, like the Spider-Man he's playing. That's why
the best person I think to have done it would have been Childish Gambino, but they decided to go the Andrew Garfield route when Sony were deciding
No,
who
but
they wanted to be.
Gambino would have still been too old to play a teenage version of Miles.
But it depends if it would be teenage, though.
Yeah, it would have been, because that's when they introduced him in the comics, he was a teenager, so it probably would have been a teenage version. But the only...
So, hold on. Why is he in a cartoon?
Andrew Garfield is older than Childish Gambino.
He did get...
yeah, he can be. Wait, sorry. Yeah, I know. But with your thing, yeah, I know. And to your question, so Spider-Man, if Spider-Man appears there's a rule about why Spider-Man can appear in
cartoons, right?
So Disney have in their contract, I think Spider-Man is allowed to appear in projects that are under 30 minutes long. So in Invincible, I don't know if you watch Invincible, the one on Amazon Prime. Okay, if not, don't worry. So in Invincible, in season 2, there's a montage at the end where he goes around and he explores basically the multiverse. I won't go into details about it, but there's a bit where he meets this guy called Agent Spider, and he meets this guy called Prof Ock, and basically that was supposed to be in the comics. That actually happens. So Invincible does a crossover with Marvel, but they couldn't showcase that in the TV show because per Marvel's contract, Sony have to approve Spider-Man in any projects that I think are over 30 minutes long. So Spider-Man can appear in animated TV shows. Disney can do animated TV shows with him. Disney can have fun with him. Anything that's longer than that, Sony have to sign off on, and if Sony say no, it's the end of. So that's why they did this whole Agent Spider and Prof Ock thing, because they couldn't use any Spider-Man characters. And then that's why it's more difficult for Spider-Man to be in Daredevil or any of the Marvel street level TV shows than for a Daredevil character or a street level hero. That's why Punisher, it's easier for Punisher to be in the Spider-Man film than it is for Spider-Man to be in Daredevil. So some people are just Spider-Man's going to appear in Daredevil maybe towards the end or maybe next season. And they were the guy who plays Kingpin was just nah, it's super difficult to get our characters into the films. So they can reference him. So that's why he mentions when Kingpin gets elected as mayor, he's we don't need a guy with a skull on his chest, a guy with devil horns, and a guy who dresses up as a spider. He can say that, and they can reference Spider-Man, but Spider-Man can't appear in the unless.
Which is why before they acquired 21st Century Fox, they could have mentioned mutants in the...
in the mutants, yeah. So that's why Wanda couldn't be... they called her an enhanced being because they couldn't use the word mutant. Because again, it was owned by 20th Century Fox.
And then to that point, because Fisk is a Daredevil villain, they were able to get Fisk. Because then 20th Century Fox also owned Daredevil, and also I think they might have owned Blade as well. But because they didn't make any films, because they didn't make any films with them, they were able to then get the rights back. Yeah.
But the actor, I'll say this, and then I know there was something you wanted to say, Joshua, and then we'll wrap up. The actor that I think most likely is going to be Miles is Caleb, I'm probably saying this wrong,
McLaughlin.
What was his character?
Stranger
I forgot was Lucas. Lucas is his name. The guy who played Lucas in Stranger Things. Everyone basically thinks that
is he Afro-Latino as well?
He's not, but everyone thinks because he's also in what was that film called? Let me just get out Wikipedia real quick. He was in that's TV shows, that's theatre. Past. Oh yeah, Goat. He was in Goat. So Goat is done by the directors of the Spider-Verse films.
Gotcha.
And then he did a whole thing where he was exploring around Sony's headquarters, animation headquarters. He did a whole thing where he was talking about with so he's been doing all these videos of him doing backflips and all these cool jumps and parkour stuff, and people are just so this is basically him being he's look, when Miles is coming into the world, just keep me in the back of your minds, because in theory I think so according to this he's going to be 25, but I think he could still pass as young, because the only reason he looks that old is because he's got a beard and a mustache. If he shaves that off, has a low cut hair, this guy could pass as being in his let's say like mid-teens at most. But yeah, so I think they'll probably go with either one of those two for Miles. But yeah, Joshua, you wanted to say something. You say that, and then we'll wrap up because we've all been talking for 2 hours.
Yeah, so I think for me, I think another reason why I'm looking forward to the future of the street level of Marvel is that when mutants come in, would you have a situation where Matt Murdock represents a mutant? Like, how will the street level society merge around mutants? Because now vigilantes are the number one thing that people hate, and then you've also got the situation with the Skrull as well that is sometimes mentioned, sometimes not. And then you've also got the situation with, as you said, Jeffrey, what do you call them? The department who basically take Department of Control. When mutants come in, we still have a Department of Control, or we will have NRD that looks at everybody, or will it be two different sides? And I think that's why the mutant and X-Men storyline is so hard to get, is that unlike Fantastic Four, or even Blade, which is a corner of the Marvel Universe, mutants is like the spine, the backbone of the whole Marvel comics, from top to bottom, and that having them in, and I think that's the big thing that I think is taking time, is understanding how do we put them in, because mutants is across the board. There's mutants in the Avengers, there's mutants in other groups, there are mutants that support Spider-Man, there are mutants that are street level thugs, you've got mutants who are villains, who are heroes, who are across the world, or across the states. And also the mutants intertwine with nearly all of the stories in Marvel. So then I think that's the key thing I want to see, for even just going back to Daredevil season 3. If we have mutants, how does that affect the Netflix style shows which have now come to Marvel?
No, I definitely agree. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Berne and Joshua, for this conversation.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated with all things. Well, Joshua will be able to let you know. Well, keep an eye on the space. There'll be more Two Maesters stuff. I see already Star Wars conversation between Joshua and Berne, as well as many. We didn't touch on DC, but they've got Supergirl, Lanterns, and other stuff coming out.
We've got WWE as well.
Yes, we've also got a WWE podcast that we'll be doing through Mike Unplugged, because just WWE or WWE, AEW, like all of that. Or just you want to just start with WWE?
Yeah, start with WWE, because I don't watch a lot of AEW.
Yeah. Same. Sorry to butt in, Jeff. Berne, who do you want to be the next face of WWE?
Do you know what? I really like Obafemi, but let me say something. I feel like Jevon, the young OG.
Jevon Evan.
Yeah. I feel like they're not putting respect on his name enough. It should be the Triumvirate. It should be the Trinity right now. But I keep hearing, whoop that trick. I keep hearing Obafemi. I don't hear his name often. And I feel like out of the three of them, if I'm being honest, he puts in the most work. Because I've seen this guy on NXT. I've seen him on the main roster. I've seen him in AAA. He's all over the place. And this guy can hold his own with the luchadors. He's able to, do the groundwork. He's able to do the aerial work. I feel like, so if anyone's going to be the future, I think it's him. But right now, we should have put a belt on. Obafemi should be the guy. And I like what they're doing with my man, Williams. That promo they did on Monday, was it Monday? That promo was crazy. It was out as well. I saw a young Booker T.
100%.
Yeah. So shout out Trick Williams. Put a belt on Obafemi. I feel like. And then, have you heard a rumor regarding Roman Reigns in June? Like, they've cancelled all the shows in June. So I reckon he's dropping a belt, because I don't think anyone really anticipated how big Obafemi was going to get that quickly, especially after WrestleMania and Brock, retiring,
causing him to retire.
because apparently, so the rumor I heard around the Brock situation was, so the whole point of my man, what's his name, the guy that's retiring everyone, what's his name, the ring general,
what's his name, Gunther.
Gunther. So the whole arc around that storyline of Gunther coming to the aid of Paul Heyman regarding what's my man's name? What's my man's name in the Shield?
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins, sorry. So the whole point of that arc was he was gonna then demand to retire Brock. So it was supposed to be like around SummerSlam, a period that we get a Brock retiring, but Brock decided, and of course, like I feel like people who do their research, realize that Brock's daughter is a shot putter, right? Same with Obafemi. That's what we got ownership on. So Brock don't see Obafemi as another wrestler. He sees him as you're my son.
You're an athlete, not some guy from the side. You're an actual athlete, similar to himself as a wrestler, or even like Henry coming in as well was an athlete.
Exactly.
Yeah. So losing to an athlete is very much different to then losing to a person who, let's say. Yeah,
100%. So he had to put Obafemi all the way over, and then that situation, then him deciding that I'm retiring right now, and throwing the X, that was crazy. So I think what he now had to do was reshuffle the whole situation and say, well, come Backlash, you have to drop that belt to Obafemi, and we're getting a situation now. And for me, like, I'm in a. So I was saying this to you the other day that I'm in this. Kayfabe bloodfield with IWC eternally. I feel like we're complaining way too much, especially around creative. And even though it's a bit shaky right now with like the New Day leaving, the NFTs, breaking up, all of that, and everyone they dropped, including like Cara Zane and all of that, I still trust in creative, and I still think let them cook, right? So I'm a strong believer in that. If they do right by Obafemi, I think we're going to get a really good summer.
Yeah, and I think the thing that sorry, Jeff, because now we've really gone into WWE.
I'm just looking at us like wrap it up.
I think the last thing for me is that you also need to be careful, especially when you try and believe the fans, because the fans were like, yeah, we want Cody. Want Cody. Then when he became champion, the fans were like, oh yeah, maybe we don't really want him.
But let me say that though, I feel like the arena fans and the IWC are two different kettle of fish. Yeah. Because I feel like arena fans, like even when we look at my man, Jey Uso was selling the most merch. Like in the arenas, Jey Uso was the guy. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like God levels. But the IWC didn't see that. And now they've got this guy relegated to, being another boot shiner. Do you get what I'm saying? And so I feel like IWC, we have a problem in that we don't want to go to the arenas, but we just want to keep, mentioning about every situation that happens. And that's also like that disconnect with creative because we feel like we know better than creatives. And I feel like, no, that's not true. So,
Yeah.
But you'll find out more on their wrestling episode, so don't worry. If you like this episode, like, comment, subscribe is always appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any other episodes of the Two Maesters, then please make sure you hit the notification bell at the bottom of the video. If you want to receive cool merch, I don't know if I see you wearing a hoodie, so you might not be wearing it, Joshua, but we have a Two Maesters top. As well as a Pick Up the Mic one. You're more than welcome to check that out, and you get discounts on that if you subscribe to be either a YouTube channel membership on the Pick Up the Mic YouTube channel, or you can sign up to Patreon or buy me a coffee to support the channel through that. If you want to know about any of our other pieces of content, so yes, we have a gaming channel as well as an anime channel, as well as a career and personal development channel. If you scroll to the homepage for the Two Maesters, you scroll down a bit, you'll see the For You. Past that, just underneath, you'll just see all three of those channels. So that is Pick Up the Mic or Pick Up the Mic Network. You'll see Senseis of Anime, and you'll also see Pick Up the Controller as well. So you'll see all of those. Subscribe to them, hit the notification bell, and then you'll never miss any of the content on our channel. But yeah, thank you for coming. We hope you enjoyed this episode. It's been great talking to you guys. We are excited to bring the Two Maesters back after a long hiatus. So we will have more episodes, content, and other stuff coming your way. But yeah, keep up the good work. We wish you all the best, and we'll see you all soon.